The city sparkled under Christmas lights, but inside the glass-walled office, the warmth was artificial, heated only by ambition, deadlines, and tension. Ariel stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching the snow coat the streets below. Her job as an assistant to the high-profile CEO of Viridian Tech was draining, but she'd learned to handle the demands with calm efficiency until tonight. "Please, just hear me out," Elena's deep, urgent voice broke the silence. Ariel turned to see her boss, the woman whose presence made her heart race in ways she refused to admit even to herself. Elena, usually composed and commanding, looked vulnerable, almost human. "What now?" Ariel asked, trying to sound neutral while her pulse betrayed her curiosity. Elena stepped closer, her gaze intense. "I need you to pretend to be my wife this Christmas. It's complicated. My family, the board, they'll all be watching, and I don't want to go alone." Ariel froze, speechless, feeling a rush of heat to her chest. Pretend to be her wife? With Elena? The thought was electrifying. She adjusted her skirt, trying to hide the sudden flutter in her stomach. "And why on earth would I agree to that?" she asked, attempting amusement, but curiosity crept in. Elena's eyes softened, searching hers. "Because this is personal, important. And you're the only one I trust. No one else could make it believable." Ariel's heart thumped as a dangerous part of her wanted to say yes immediately, to step into Elena's arms and feel warmth she denied herself for months. But she had a condition, a single, non-negotiable boundary. "Fine," she said slowly, meeting Elena's gaze. "I'll consider it, but there's one condition." Elena's brow lifted, intrigued. "And what's that?" Ariel took a deep breath, feeling the tension thicken. "If we're pretending, I get to choose the rules." Elena's lips curved into a slow, knowing smile. "Then tell me," she whispered. Ariel's pulse jumped, because what she was about to say could change everything between them, igniting a Christmas neither of them would ever forget. Ariel's mind raced as she thought about the rules she needed to set. She had no intention of letting this arrangement slip into something uncontrolled, but the thought of being close to Elena made her pulse quicken in ways she had tried so hard to ignore. "Rule number 1, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "We keep it public only. No private meetings, no late-night calls. Just appearances for the family and the board." Elena's lips curved into a teasing, almost mischievous smile. "Public only," she repeated, as if savoring the words, and Ariel felt a shiver run down her spine. "Yes," Ariel insisted, refusing to let her heart betray her. "I'm not letting this become anything real outside this arrangement." Elena took a step closer, closing the distance between them, her gaze dark and hungry. "And if I don't agree?" she whispered, her warm breath grazing Ariel's ear. Ariel's breath hitched. The question was more of a dare than a query. "Then you'll have to handle the consequences," she murmured, barely daring to meet Elena's eyes, because when she did, she found herself lost in them. The tension between them was electric, almost unbearable. Elena's hand brushed Ariel's, lightly, testing boundaries, and Ariel's body responded before her mind could intervene. "Do you always make things so difficult?" Elena murmured, leaning closer. Ariel's heartbeat thundered in her chest as she tried to keep her composure, even as the scent of Elena's perfume and the warmth of her presence overwhelmed her senses. Finally, Elena's lips hovered near hers, close enough that Ariel could feel the soft exhale, and a part of her wanted to give in, to let that forbidden closeness slip just for a moment. But she held firm, pulling slightly back, keeping the promise of rules in place. "We start tomorrow," Ariel said, her voice low but determined, though inside, she knew that pretending to be Elena's wife would test every limit she had, and awaken desires she might not be able to control. Desires that had been simmering between them for far too long. The next morning, Ariel arrived at the office early, her nerves buzzing as if the Christmas lights themselves had followed her inside. Elena was already there, leaning casually against her desk, a rare, unguarded smile on her lips that made Ariel's heart stutter. "Ready to begin our little arrangement?" Elena asked, her voice smooth, teasing, yet edged with something Ariel couldn't quite name. Ariel nodded, keeping her expression neutral, though her stomach fluttered at the thought of walking into the holiday party pretending to be Elena's wife. They spent the morning going over every detail. The route to the event, what to say to family members, how to act in front of colleagues who barely knew Elena's personal life. Each glance Elena cast Ariel's way carried an intensity that made it difficult to focus, and each brush of their hands, though accidental, sent sparks through Ariel that she tried to ignore. By mid-afternoon, they were rehearsing a photo opportunity in the office lobby. Elena took Ariel's hand in hers, pulling her close for the pose. "Smile," Elena whispered, her lips brushing Ariel's ear. Ariel felt a shiver run through her heart pounding in her chest, but she smiled, forcing herself to act as if this closeness were purely for show. Yet every time Elena's gaze lingered, Ariel's mind betrayed her, imagining what it would feel like if the pretending weren't necessary, if they were free to act on the tension crackling between them. After the rehearsal, Elena leaned in, just enough to let her lips almost touch Ariel's, a whisper of warmth and promise that left Ariel breathless. "You're going to make this believable," Elena murmured, her voice low, intimate, and heavy with unspoken desire. Ariel's cheeks flushed, and she tore her gaze away, trying to regain composure, reminding herself of the rules. But as she watched Elena straighten her suit, her posture confident and commanding, Ariel realized the truth she hadn't admitted. Pretending to be Elena's wife wasn't just a challenge. It was a temptation she might not be able to resist, and one she was secretly eager to explore when the party finally began. The Christmas party was in full swing, a glittering sea of lights, laughter, and champagne. And Ariel's nerves danced like sparks beneath her calm exterior. Dressed in a deep emerald gown, she felt Elena's hand slide into hers as they entered, and the warmth of that touch made her stomach flutter uncontrollably. "Remember," Elena whispered, her lips grazing Ariel's ear, "we're married tonight. Keep it believable." Ariel nodded, forcing a composed smile, though her pulse raced at the sound of Elena's voice so close. They moved through the crowd, exchanging greetings with Elena's family and board members, every introduction a test of their chemistry under the guise of pretense. Each laugh shared, each subtle touch of hands or arms, sent a jolt of electricity through Ariel, and she found it harder and harder to maintain the line between pretending and reality. At one point, Elena leaned in under the mistletoe, her eyes glinting mischievously. Ariel froze, breath catching, heart hammering, and for a split second, the rules she had set vanished from her mind. "Smile," Elena whispered, brushing her lips just against Ariel's, a teasing, tantalizing touch that left Ariel breathless. Pulling back slightly, Ariel met Elena's gaze, her cheeks flushed and lips slightly parted. The room around them faded, and for a moment, the world consisted only of the dangerous closeness, the heat of desire, and the intoxicating thought that this pretense could turn into something far more real before the night was over. After the mistletoe moment, Ariel's heart refused to settle, and every time Elena's hand brushed hers, a spark ignited that made her knees feel weak. They moved through the party like a perfect couple, sharing subtle touches that no one else could read, smiles that hid a storm of desire, and quiet laughter that only belonged to them. At one point, Elena guided Ariel to a quieter balcony, the city lights below shimmering like fallen stars. "You're distracting me," Elena murmured, her voice low, intimate, sending shivers through Ariel. She turned to meet Elena's gaze, and the rules she had set moments ago suddenly felt impossible to enforce. Elena stepped closer, her breath warm against Ariel's face, fingers brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. Ariel's chest heaved as she struggled to maintain composure, but the magnetic pull between them was undeniable. "You're not making this easy," Ariel whispered, her voice trembling. Elena's lips hovered over hers, close enough to feel the heat of her breath. Time slowed, the world outside forgotten, and Ariel's resolve began to crumble as desire surged. Then, just as Elena's lips met hers in a tentative, feather-like kiss, Ariel felt the rules of their agreement clash with the pulse of longing between them. The kiss deepened, more urgent yet careful, a dance of fire and restraint. When they finally pulled back, breathless, Ariel's eyes met Elena's, and in that silent, electric moment, she realized that pretending might no longer be enough. They were dangerously close to crossing the line into something entirely real. The balcony felt like a world of their own, isolated from the laughter and chatter of the Christmas party inside. Ariel's heart was still racing from the kiss, and every nerve in her body seemed to hum with Elena's proximity. She could feel the warmth radiating from Elena, the intoxicating scent of her perfume mixing with the crisp winter air. "We can't, not here," Ariel whispered, trying to steady her voice, though every instinct urged her closer. Elena's hand cupped Ariel's cheek, thumb brushing gently over her skin, and her eyes burned with a mix of desire and something softer, almost vulnerable. "Rules are tricky," Elena murmured, "especially when the person I want most is standing right in front of me." Ariel's resolve wavered, torn between the boundaries she had set and the undeniable pull she felt. Slowly, Elena leaned in again, capturing Ariel's lips in a kiss that was both tender and demanding, soft at first, then deepening with an intensity that stole Ariel's breath away. Her hands slid over Ariel's back, drawing her impossibly closer, and Ariel responded instinctively, wrapping her arms around Elena's neck, allowing herself to get lost in the warmth and the forbidden thrill of it. Each brush of lips, each gentle nibble, each whispered sigh pushed the line further between pretense and reality. Ariel's mind screamed caution, but her body betrayed her, craving the closeness, the intimacy that had been simmering for months. When they finally pulled apart, their foreheads resting together, breaths mingling in the cold night air, Ariel's heart felt as if it might burst. This is dangerous," she whispered, a tremble in her voice, though her eyes never left Elena's. Elena's fingers traced a delicate path along Ariel's jawline, her gaze steady, filled with promise. "Maybe," Elena admitted softly, "but some things are worth the risk." Ariel's lips curved into a nervous, guilty smile, and in that fleeting moment, she realized that pretending to be Elena's wife this Christmas had already become something far more real and far more intoxicating than she had ever imagined. By the time they returned to the party, Ariel's heart was still pounding from the balcony kiss, and every glance Elena cast her way sent shivers down her spine. They moved through the crowd, hands occasionally brushing, each touch a spark that no one else could read. Elena's arm brushed against Ariel's waist, and Ariel's pulse spiked, her body reacting before her mind could intervene. "You're impossible," Ariel whispered under her breath, a smile tugging at her lips, though Elena only raised an eyebrow with that signature teasing grin. As they posed for photos, Elena pulled Ariel close, lips brushing the side of her hair as she whispered, "Just stay like this for the cameras. No one else needs to know." Ariel's stomach fluttered as she nodded, pretending casual composure while her body ached with desire. They laughed at holiday jokes, exchanged polite greetings with colleagues, and yet, each moment together was charged with electricity. When they finally found a quiet corner near the dessert table, Elena's fingers found Ariel's hand again, lacing theirs together as if it were instinctual. "You know," Elena murmured, leaning close so only Ariel could hear, "pretending is getting harder by the minute." Ariel's breath caught, her pulse racing. She wanted to pull Elena closer, wanted to surrender to the temptation, but she remembered the rules she had set. Yet standing there, so close, smelling Elena's intoxicating perfume, feeling the warmth of her touch, Ariel realized how fragile the line between pretense and reality had become, and how much she secretly wanted to cross it. After the party began winding down, the crowd thinned, leaving only a few lingering guests, and the office felt suddenly intimate, quiet, and charged. Ariel and Elena found themselves near the grand fireplace, the warm glow reflecting in Elena's eyes, making her look more vulnerable and enticing than ever. You know, Elena murmured, her voice low and velvety, we're dangerously close to forgetting this is all pretend. Ariel's chest tightened, the memory of their balcony kiss still burning on her lips, and she realized she wanted more closeness, more warmth, more of the intimacy that had been simmering between them for months. She swallowed hard, trying to maintain her composure, but Elena's fingers brushed hers again, lingering longer than necessary, sending sparks through her entire body. We need to keep our heads, Ariel whispered, though her voice trembled, betraying her desire. Elena tilted her head, her lips almost touching Ariel's ear as she whispered back, or maybe we don't. Ariel felt a shiver run through her, the boundary she had set beginning to blur. Slowly, Elena closed the distance between them, capturing Ariel's lips in a kiss that started soft, exploratory, then deepened with urgency and longing, a silent admission of feelings neither had dared to voice. Ariel responded instinctively, her arms wrapping around Elena, pulling her closer as the warmth of their bodies pressed together, blending passion and tenderness. Every touch, every sigh, every brush of lips made the world outside disappear, leaving only the two of them suspended in a moment of intoxicating desire. When they finally pulled back, foreheads resting together, breaths mingling, Ariel realized the truth she could no longer deny. What began as a pretense had already become something far more real, intimate, and dangerously captivating. And as Elena's fingers traced gentle patterns along her back, Ariel knew one thing with certainty. This Christmas, pretending was no longer enough. The office had emptied, leaving only the two of them in the soft glow of Christmas lights and the lingering scent of pine and cinnamon. Ariel's heart thudded in her chest as Elena stepped closer, her eyes dark with longing and mischief. You're impossible to resist, Elena murmured, her voice low, intimate, sending a shiver down Ariel's spine. Ariel tried to step back, reminding herself of the rules she had set, but her body betrayed her, inching forward despite her mind. Elena's hand found hers, fingers intertwining, warm and familiar, and she leaned in, brushing her lips lightly over Ariel's ear. Why fight it? Elena whispered. Ariel's breath hitched as her resolve wavered, the desire she had tried to contain for months crashing through every barrier. She closed her eyes as Elena's lips finally met hers in a kiss that was slow, teasing, and impossibly soft, yet filled with an intensity that made Ariel's knees weaken. Her hands found Elena's waist, holding her close, and she felt the heat of their bodies pressing together, a dangerous but irresistible connection that left them both breathless. When they finally pulled back, Ariel's forehead rested against Elena's, heart racing, breaths mingling, and for a moment, the pretense felt unnecessary, meaningless. The rules that had seemed so important earlier now felt distant, fragile, as if the Christmas magic around them had rewritten the possibilities. This is harder than I thought, Ariel whispered, a smile tugging at her lips, eyes sparkling with unspoken desire. Elena's fingers brushed a strand of hair from her face, her gaze soft yet charged. Good, Elena said softly, because some things are worth breaking the rules for. And in that moment, Ariel realized that what had started as a simple arrangement had transformed into something far more intoxicating, intimate, and real than either of them could have anticipated. The office felt almost empty now, the faint hum of the city below and the soft glow of Christmas lights making the space feel intimate, almost suspended in time. Ariel's heart still raced from their earlier kisses, and every glance from Elena made it skip another beat. We can't. Not here, Ariel whispered, though her voice carried a tremor of longing she couldn't hide. Elena stepped closer, closing the distance, her hand brushing Ariel's cheek with delicate insistence. Why not? She murmured, lips so close that Ariel could feel her warm breath. Ariel swallowed hard, torn between rules and desire, but the pull of Elena was too strong. Their lips met again, a slow, teasing kiss that quickly deepened, igniting a fire that Ariel had spent months trying to deny. She wrapped her arms around Elena's neck, feeling the warmth of her body, the strength in her embrace, the undeniable chemistry that had always been there but was now impossible to ignore. Every gentle caress, every sigh, every brush of lips blurred the line between pretense and reality. When they finally pulled back, foreheads resting together, breaths mingling, Ariel felt a delicious mix of thrill and vulnerability. "This is dangerous," she whispered, heart hammering. Elena's fingers traced patterns along her jawline, eyes locked on hers, voice soft but commanding. "Some things are worth the risk," she replied. And in that quiet, charged moment, Ariel realized that pretending this Christmas had long ceased to be just an arrangement. It had become a temptation she was powerless to resist, and she wouldn't want to. The night had grown quieter, the party long over, leaving Ariel and Elena alone in the softly lit office. The city below twinkled like distant stars, but all Ariel could see was Elena, standing just a few steps away, radiant and commanding even in the quiet aftermath of the evening. Her heart thudded as Elena approached, slow and deliberate, her gaze holding a mixture of desire and tenderness that made Ariel's breath hitch. "You know," Elena murmured, voice low and intimate, "pretending like this is unbearable for me." Ariel's chest tightened, her pulse rushing as Elena's fingers traced a delicate line along her jaw, tilting her face slightly, lips brushing over hers in a whisper of a kiss. Ariel closed her eyes, surrendering to the warmth, the softness, the aching intensity that had been building between them. Their lips met fully, slow at first, savoring the closeness, then deepening, more urgent yet careful, a dance between desire and restraint. Ariel's hands moved instinctively, tangling in Elena's hair, pulling her closer, feeling the heat of her body against hers. Each kiss, each soft sigh, each lingering touch made the world outside fade completely, leaving only the two of them suspended in a moment of pure intimacy. When they finally parted slightly, foreheads pressed together, breaths mingling, Ariel felt a vulnerability she hadn't expected, her heart fully exposed, yet safe in Elena's arms. "I can't pretend anymore," she whispered, voice trembling, eyes searching Elena's. Elena's smile was soft, almost shy, yet full of certainty. "Then don't," she murmured, brushing a thumb over Ariel's cheek. Ariel's lips curved into a small, genuine smile as her fingers found Elena's hand, squeezing it gently. In that quiet, fragile moment, they understood that what began as a playful pretense had become something far deeper, far more intimate and entirely real, and neither of them would ever want to let it go. The office was silent except for the faint hum of the city below and the soft flicker of Christmas lights, casting a warm glow over Elena and Ariel. Standing so close, they felt as if the rest of the world had disappeared, leaving only the two of them suspended in a moment of shared warmth and desire. Ariel's heart raced, every nerve alive, as Elena brushed a strand of hair from her face, her touch gentle yet electrifying. "I never wanted this to be just pretend," Elena admitted, voice low, filled with raw honesty. Ariel's breath caught, eyes locking with hers, the truth she had tried to ignore reflected in Elena's gaze. Slowly, deliberately, Elena leaned in, capturing Ariel's lips in a kiss that was soft, lingering, and intimate, yet charged with a heat that left them both breathless. Ariel melted into the embrace, her hands resting against Elena's chest, feeling the steady beat of her heart beneath her fingers, as if syncing their emotions in a silent rhythm. Each kiss, each whisper of breath, each gentle caress deepened the connection they had carefully hidden behind the pretense of rules and social expectation. When their lips parted, foreheads touching and breaths mingling, Ariel realized how utterly she had fallen for Elena. Not as a boss, not as a challenge, but as the woman who had captured her heart. Elena's fingers traced along Ariel's jawline, eyes shimmering with warmth and promise. "No more pretending," Elena whispered, a soft smile tugging at her lips. Ariel responded with a small laugh, heart full, wrapping her arms around Elena's neck. "No more pretending," she echoed, pressing her lips to Elena's in a final, lingering kiss. In the glow of the Christmas lights, with snow gently falling beyond the windows, they held each other close, knowing that what had begun as a playful arrangement had grown into a love neither of them could deny, a love that was real, intimate, and theirs forever.